I'll call the meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. Tonight's meeting will be a tour of both schools by the Indian Head and Maquan School Priority Repair Committee. I see that a quorum is present, along with members of the general public, as well as our town administrator, Ron San Angelo. We also have with us tonight the Director of Operations, the Whitman Hanson Regional School Committee, Mr. Craig Finley, and we have several Hanson citizens at large. So I guess without further ado, we can begin the tour. I'd also like to thank Mr. Edgehill for being here and filming us.
You're welcome.
Obviously, the cafeteria, main service area for the 500 plus students that are in the building every day. Plus, with this building, is the majority of the students, whether kindergarten students or under, actually do not eat lunch. Full day kindergarten, first grade, second grade eats lunch. After we get done in the cafeteria, I'll walk you through the kitchen. We'll head out to the boilers. Yeah. Kitchen here is a non-functional kitchen. It is at the point that there is no serviceable equipment from a cooking and a heating standpoint. They have warming capabilities and limited dishwashing capabilities. Both items have been identified as problematic. In order to put the kitchen back to an operational status, there's some fire code issues. Again, the materials that I know Bruce has probably shared with you, that the architects have gone through with the original assessment of both buildings, have identified that as a need in both areas. So some sort of fire suppression system would need to be added to the kitchen, along with the replacement of the kitchen equipment.
The suppression is only for the hood or for the entire kitchen?
They had asked for a full fire code review. That obviously was not done to a full code review when we determined that we were going in this direction. So those items are denoted as something that needs to be reviewed and stopped at that point.
Craig, are there sprinklers in this property?
There's no sprinklers in this building whatsoever.
I noticed in reviewing some of the minutes that facilities that kitchen came up and somebody wanted to rehabilitate it and bring the food service back, and then the superintendent said that it was more cost effective at that particular point to satellite, prepare it out elsewhere and bring it in rather than fix up the kitchen.
That's correct. There's some staffing issues, obviously, that would need to be addressed as well from this one back to a fully operated kitchen. Other issues that we have identified within this space, looked at the floor. Our insurance carrier annually comes out, does a review of every building, making sure that we're compliant with regulatory requirements and that we're not posing any hazards potential for community members, students, and staff. They've identified areas of the floor which you will see which are lifting. There's a significant component right behind where Ron's standing, another component in this particular area. And in this building, anything that's done, one of the first tests that are done is we bring our environmental engineering company in. They do full tests to ensure that whatever we're touching does not have any materials in it that would be problematic. In this particular case, the glue that affixes the tiles to the floor has been identified to have asbestos-containing materials. Because of that, any issues that are done with the floor requires full parent notification. We follow very closely to federal standards that require us to make appropriate notifications under the School Asbestos Management Act and maintain an asbestos plan, which denotes that as well. The areas that have been patched, you will note that we followed an engineering recommendation to patch and seal areas that are done, which are gray on the floor that's here now. The other areas are on the list to be dealt with at some point this year. This is also growing as a concern as well, where it's similar. Other issues that the cafeteria has, one is the stage. It's not accessible to students. We have many students in this building that are disabled and not mobile. We have no ability to get them in an accessible manner to the stage, both from the front as well as from the back. And that has been identified in that space as well. Any other questions as well?
You have no problems with the asbestos tile. You just encapsulate it.
If you can cover it, that's fine. Then you've met the requirement of here. Obviously, the floor itself should probably at some point come out. That would require remediation of the entire floor and then the new surface being laid down.
Quick question for you. Kind of like you've got broken up very conveniently into like thirds here. Is it over another product or something like that?
Not that I'm aware of. No, I think it's the original glue back in the floor. Okay. To my knowledge, this floor did. No idea.
This is a replacement floor.
At one point, yes. Yep. But I think the original was left underneath and was encapsulated on top.
That's my question. There is another floor underneath.
Yeah, that was encapsulated on top. Yeah, because the glue would have been on the original.
Several things.
The inspection certificate over that wall was made in '05 and expires in '06.
Okay. That's good. We'll check with Bob Carter. See, he's on your committee, right?
Another thing is the heating vents over here are all painted shut. They can't be taken off and cleaned. I reach my hand up underneath them. You can't even get up to the heating ducts. It looks like they haven't been cleaned in 20 years.
Okay. Okay.
And they've been painted shut, so there's no means of access. They need to be stripped out and all those covers taken off and cleaned. They can harbor all kinds of microorganisms, etc., especially during the humid areas where they can go in there and breed. The warm air comes on and they go up in the atmosphere.
Right there. Want to see the kitchen? Or is there any other questions in this place?
Is all the water off in there?
All the water off in the heating
Kitchen.
plant? The water's, no, water should be. For sinks, I don't know.
Craig, I do have a question. At one point there was a, I don't know if it was, the insurance company came in because there was a flood in the building with flooring question, and they came in and mentioned that there was some trip hazards.
For this particular area, annually the insurance company will come out to do routine.
But there was an issue with a trip hazard. Was it this location?
This was the trip hazard.
So this will be fixed?
This area here will be fixed.
And they're just going to do a small spot of where the trip hazard is?
It'll be exactly what happened here.
Okay.
It'll be fixed.
Oh, they're going to put this stuff back down?
Back down. This is the area that was done with before.
And that's
So they've
what they're
accepted that as not a trip hazard. It's the same as we did. Generator, there'd be one section of lights per code requirement that would have been in, but again, this building is not up to,
It has to be battery powered, doesn't it? If I
No, it'll be an emergency generator.
just recommend walking around if there's something in here that you want to look at, otherwise we'll turn right back around and out into the one.
Looks like the kitchen I used to work in back in the 60s.
What does the work for?
Well, most of the actual cooking equipment has been removed. The warming trays obviously turn on. These at some point should be replaced. They're well past their initial lifespan. And then everything else has pretty much been maintained to cleaning. There's no food preparation here at all. So we're kept in warmers. Refrigerator freezer is problematic, although we have more problematic refrigerator freezers in some of the buildings that we actually for failure standpoint.
All the food comes in Cambros?
Food is delivered in a van that's prepped for the
Right.
warming. It's put in warming trays
Right.
and then served to the students that are here.
And that satellite kitchen is middle school?
Hanson.
What would it take to,
We put it back together. We probably need to get a food services consultant in to figure out from a cooking standpoint. I would imagine at least a steamer, probably some sort of an oven.
the hookups are all there?
The hookups for gas are here. What the problem is that we do not meet fire suppression regulations. So you would need to bump the fire suppression up so that if there's a fire, we appropriately dump it. What's needed.
The satellite kitchen is the most cost-effective.
For this particular point, yeah, again, based on the age of the children that are here, if we were to expand to a full-day kindergarten program throughout the district, I think at that point it would be problematic. You're servicing many more children at that point. So we would probably be unable to meet the demands for one building by servicing it through satellite.
How many Hanson kids or classrooms are actually in this building that would need to be fed?
Well, we have probably another 175 to 100 students in the half-day kindergarten program, I guess. Preschool wouldn't impact that group. That's the only group of working students that are in this building. They're not served. They're not in a full-day program, half-day program.
So the equivalent was recently removed and the plan is to use the satellite kitchen.
This has been out for years.
Okay.
Quite a while.
But there's no need to replace it, if you will, unless you go to a full-day kindergarten.
Unless we have the need for the pump instrument. At this point, they're operating as needed. It would certainly be beneficial if we were able to prepare and
Obviously,
service food here, but the workaround is working. It's not a hindrance to the operation of the program.
You heading to the board?
Although there's no one in the follow this up.
This is old. I don't see this stuff anywhere.
What was that?
You don't see this stuff anywhere. Yeah, this is it.
Excuse me. Good.
Got everyone? Main heating plant for the building is obviously here. 2 now gas-fired. It's been converted from dual fuel at one point to now fully converted over to gas. The oil tank that was outside was removed by the town a few years back when we did the full conversion over. Obvious significant savings in utilities. Majority of the concerns for this particular building lies in both this room as well as the distribution facility that services the remaining part of the building. The cafeteria that we were just in, as well as the gymnasium, remain serviced by steam conversion. So steam is delivered to those 2 sites and then converted back to a heating source. Remaining parts of the building are all serviced by hot water. You'll notice some condensate tanks that are up top. Those have been problematic, unable to replace. We had a recent issue that required a custom fit of that particular part. Obviously concerns in regards to the boilers, tubing, annual testing. Testing is done typically in the month of August. The state required inspection. That comes out each year. You will note areas in the room that we have done significant improvements both on behalf of the town as well as on behalf of the district. The main water gate valve, which is located in the rear corner of this room, for years was unable to be shut off. It required the building water service to be turned off. It required a turn off by the water department of the street. That was replaced as a part of routine maintenance last summer. Replacement hot water heaters have been done over time. Replacement air compressors have been done over time. So patches have been done in the system that allowed it to at least continue to service the building. Major concerns remain obviously in regards to the pipes that are fed out to our classroom areas, as well as I mentioned, the 2 steam areas that service the gym and the cafeteria. Looking at an emergency plan in the event that there were a catastrophic issue that did not allow us to operate one or both of these boilers would require a trailer to be put outside. We have discussed with companies contingency options, make sure that we have a plan in place if that needed to happen to continue the building. It becomes very expensive at that point where they would not only need to provide the appropriate service outside, also figure out how to convert and heat the kitchen and the gymnasium space, as well as ensure that they're able to actually provide a fuel source that is somewhat financial without a significant impact to district utilities, which would most likely wind up being oil at some point, as most of the trailer-based devices that we could find, based on the supply of gas that comes into this building, would be an oil base. We've not had to go in that direction, but we do have contingency plans where we at least have identified in advance vendors that if necessary, we were able to move forward with those vendors.
How much money have you spent on this room in the last 5 years?
Ballpark between town, probably close to $75,000 to $100,000 if I were to throw a number out.
How much do you think?
Probably 75 to 100,000 if I were to add up everything in distribution in the last probably 5 to 6 years. Between conversion costs that were done, obviously, and repairs that were recently done, Hanson just
How much a year do you think in maintenance you spend?
This building is significantly higher on
Just on the board, mechanical.
So the question was how much in maintenance on an annual basis. Out of the majority of the buildings, here is probably where the largest percentage of maintenance and operation cost happens, just simply because of the age of the equipment. Second would probably be the Conley School, and third would probably be the Duval School. Again, we're dealing with an older plant.
Is that town employees or is that you have a mechanical?
Yeah, we have district employees, so 2 that are inside facilities people. One is actually a Hanson resident, Mr. John Kevin. He's our primary heating, ventilation, and air conditioning person. So he's the one that would deal with the initial call, make an assessment as to whether it's something that he can deal with. If not, then it goes to one of our vendors. We have a couple of different vendors here in Hart. Frank Brown is the service contractor. Now that gets bid out based on required procurement regulations each year. But we've had CM Perry From Whitman, we've had Frank Brown's for a couple of years now that have been the winning contractor. The big surprise usually every year is when the insurance and the boiler inspector comes out is what's on the laundry list. They've done tube replacements. I'm actually surprised at this point. Is the vessel open at the other end? When you guys went, for those that went down the other end, is it open at the other end? You can see it, or is it still closed? All right. Typically at this time of the year, the vessel does get opened and then prepped for inspection, which will surprise us not at this particular time. And then when they come out and do the restart, then we'll get a laundry list of items. In most cases, the tubes have been problematic. We've gone through and reconditioning on most of the tubes in both boilers. And then they're also concerned with some of the pressure testing when they have to pressurize the vessel for testing. That's again required through state requirement.
Do you have any surveys from teachers as to satisfaction as to heat or?
We do. Obvious complaints in here, up and down, based on the inability to really maintain a consistent operating temperature. Here, with the windows combining as well to the problematic escape of heat, if it does make it into the classroom, you have some areas that are overheated, and in most cases, areas that are underheated. There's no ability through the heating network, based on where shutoff valves are, to easily contain certain leaks. So if there is a leak in some areas, it would require, in some cases, shutting off the entire service to that wing, which obviously creates a problem if it happens in the middle of a cold day. On the flip side, we experience similar problems with students that are in the building over the summertime. We go through the electrical system, you can see some of the sub panels here. We've had some better panels that are better reflective of the conditions of what the panels look like. We have serious concerns in regards to being able to air condition spaces for students that are in this building as part of operatable summer programs, where it's constantly tripping circuit breakers because of the load capacity of the building. We've exceeded what was originally provided for classrooms and have no ability to provide extra service capability based on the
What are the summer programs that are running?
We have North River Collaborative has some significant disabled students that are here. Our full preschool program operates out of here. We have very specific special education programs based on the student population that it's medically fragile students who are moving that actually creates a bigger problem than leaving them in their home time. Those are programs typically serviced out of this building. Where we've been able to move students for summer programs, we've relocated summer elementary school programs out of the fully air-conditioned high school building. Again, furniture becomes a little bit of a challenge, but we found with the teaching staff it's easier to work around the furniture concerns with desks that are up here, legs that are down here, by being able to provide them with an environment that's conducive to being able to learn in an environment that is vulnerable in the summer when we can better control the atmosphere.
Any studies or cost estimates to just got this move and put the right stuff in?
There's not. When we had the issue with the boiler the last time, the initial quote was about $100,000 to $150,000. We worked with the vendor to figure out how we can deal with the condensate issue up here and not deal with the problems over here while we were in the window of the opportunity for MSBA programs. Every intent was made to not spend money that would potentially be lost in the later point.
Good question. When you said the cafeteria and the
gym was serviced through steam.
Is that on a rooftop then?
A unit up above the seat.
How often is, when was the last time it flew, you know, operating this week?
I would imagine anyway, I'd have to check the Oh, here?
If you actually go on the website, you can see the major expenditures for items are included in one school improvement, including parts of the boilers, major parts replacement of the boilers, the conversion from oil to gas, removal of the oil tank, and numerous other items to spend on everything you consider to the west of the west.
Right, does North River contribute financially to the Hanson School District?
They do.
Using the school this summer?
Yeah, they pay a lease fee that goes in annually for operating the classrooms. That's deposited in building use. We use that money towards projects like the carpet, for example, at the auditorium at Hanson Middle was replaced during this past school year. That comes out of that building use.
Same as Social Alliance or the YMCA?
YMCA is a free program that's, they do not pay building use fees, they pay for direct costs such as custodial or utility surcharges or opening times that the buildings are not normally open. They provide actually a service to us in having the availability of programs for parents. That's actually kind of why they provide daycare for town meetings, part of the agreement that they provide in that. At least go on the hallway, if there's another question, it's a little cooler up there and I can hear you later.
You have a light on in this room?
Where you come after you stay in the boiler room?
Yes, exactly, you come down and cool down in the clinic.
No
You
lights?
can open the door.
Is this a light?
Yeah, the light switch is right there, next to
This
the,
is it?
nope, yep.
Oh, okay.
There you go, that works.
One of the reasons I stopped in here is one of the major concerns that this particular building had, outside of facility-related issues, is really the layout. Mariah can probably talk a lot more to that than I can. One of the challenges with the way that the buildings operate today is the separation of administrative functions of the core of the building to where the classroom wing is. This location is now part of the clinic. It's been reviewed as to whether it's best serviced here. It's been out by the main office at some particular times. It was a conference room. It's been moved from a conference room to the end of the hallway, which we can go on the end of the tour. But one of the concerns was really the layout and the functionality. So as we're walking through the building, I stopped here just more to get everyone together before we continued in the library. But keep that in mind, that if there is a medical issue, classrooms are a pretty significant distance. We moved the nurse here primarily because of that concern with it being way at the other end of the building. This is at least central to an issue in the cafeteria, an issue in the main classroom wing of the building, or an issue in the gymnasium. Not the best spot though from a nurse standpoint, where they're really separated from the rest of the building. So if there is a nurse concern, it's not the best spot, but from a student perspective, this was the best spot where it's more central for her to be able to respond. We do have significantly increasing medical needs today, both in allergens as well as medical necessity, children, diabetes, for example, that require consistent review by the nurse that's in the building of particular blood sugar levels, and just a significantly greater population of students that come in with a medical plan attached to them. So I think it's important to kind of keep that in mind as we're doing the walkthrough to kind of get an idea as to where spaces are. We're going to take a right and continue through. There's a school psychologist's office, yeah?
Those were initially teacher bathrooms in
Correct.
there. Have they been changed over to
They've
kid
been converted to
bathrooms?
student bathrooms for use from the cafeteria. Yep.
So she's still in all is a distance from,
A bathroom, correct.
but she was moved from a location where she had a bathroom, right? What,
But there was more of a concern with her being able to get to a classroom wing with some of the problems that we had with some of the children and running from one end of the building to the
how
other.
does she get help here? She's a mile away.
With the phone and a
from the
two-way
building.
radio, really goes through that. So you make sure that there's someone available relatively close if they need to run someone down from the office. You've got the school psychologist here, which because of the reduction in assistant principal really kind of operates almost like an assistant principal. She's right outside the door. So you've got two members of our student school support services that are relatively close to each other. Bathroom obviously is a concern.
Greg, is this room 107?
The physical number, now you gotta test me. Good question. We're right
I
up
just
the-
noticed that there's a note that
This used to be a teacher's room, way
there's
back.
not enough outlets for the health office equipment,
Yeah,
nebulizer,
that's-
such refrigerated for medications.
That's throughout the whole building, everywhere we go.
But, so they're saying they can't even, like, have to store medicines out of this room?
No, they probably plugged them in, she would probably want a
Says that-
secondary
Says
refrigerator.
they can, we're using power strips plugged into power strips.
Yeah,
Is that-
probably over here.
Okay.
But there is a refrigerator, so
Okay.
there's no refrigerator.
Does this building have a automatic defibrillator in it?
Yes, all of our buildings have automatic defibrillators.
Where do they
We're
keep
required to
them?
maintain, most likely by the gym. When you look, there'll be one by the gym, there's actually two in here, there should be one in the classroom wing. We're required to have access to, and the medical response plan that's posted by every door indicates that as well.
Why would they have a portable heater in one of these rooms over here?
Probably because it's cold.
Well, I mean, obviously, but I mean, why is it cold? Because they can't get enough heat from the boilers?
We got it.
Are all the windows in this entire building all single pane? Oops, excuse me.
Yeah, plugs in here, you get
There we go.
Is this where we're heading?
You're going right through here, yep.
This is the psychologist's office.
Psychologist?
Take a seat.
Yeah, could use a little help I can get.
Yeah.
Might be in there for a while, I don't know. You have to come and save me. It smells funny now.
This is the library?
This is the library media center.
Craig, has there been any temperature measurements within the classrooms during the course of the year as far as trying to assess, you know, how hot is hot and how cold is cold?
Sure, we get frequent complaints. The first thing.
But I mean, have we actually put,
Well, they
like,
do, well, the first thing they go is with the temp gun. They'll take a reading to figure out exactly where it is on the list, and if it's too cold.
are there any reports available
I can look.
as to
Yep, I can look.
the actual temperature readings at different points in time in the classroom and comments?
All the rooms are all served by unit ventilators though, right? Everything?
That was the design. Most of our buildings are actually like that. Was one of the discussions that we had with the architect and design of the proposed elementary school project was we mirrored what worked much better at the high school, which was rooftop units servicing VAV boxes or air curtains in the classroom. So that was, we specifically said the unit vents become a cost savings at time of construction, but the long-term maintenance costs are huge.
What kind of condition are the unit ventilators in now?
Most of these would be extremely poor to replace, and that was noted in the architect's report as well. And also concerns regarding the water piping that goes to them, not only the units themselves, but that distribution network as well. And as I mentioned, the boiler room, the inability for us to really segment off in the event of a problem, certain areas, wings, or even down to the classroom level from a valve standpoint. This services the entire building. Obviously, one of the concerns is it's undersized for what a media center probably should be today, as well as the connection to the computer lab, which is on the other side of this door, which is too small for the number of number of students in a typical class, as well as the layout really doesn't provide for being able to do one-on-one instruction with students. So that's really the big concern here. Obviously, concerns in regards to heating continue in these spaces, air conditioning continues in these spaces, and the same with the window area. You can see we have done, in some cases, areas where we've been able to improve certain segments of it. The technology upgrades provide the interactive whiteboard that's on a vertical lift so that students can actually utilize that. So we've continued where we can in working with the space to make it workable for 21st century learning, but it's really not designed for a 21st century media center.
So is a space you need in here for students or books?
This is, no, for students. You can't, it's tough to bring a full class of students in here, or even 2 classes of students in here with an instructor, and more so if the instructor or the teacher is working in the computer lab as well. It doesn't flow well.
So what's that, like about 30 kids?
Nah, typically probably mid-20s.
Mid-20s?
But if you added 2 classrooms in at the same time, you're in probably the 40 to 50 category.
Craig,
Yes, ma'am.
if that room is too small for technology, why don't we retain one classroom saved from rentals and make a technology classroom?
Out of that room?
Seems like we're renting out rooms while we're saying we don't have enough space.
Right. Problem when you get into the needs of the computer classroom, one becomes the environmental conditions. You would add 25, 30 machines in, the heat value load goes up quite a bit in the classroom, as well as dealing with the electrical needs. You'll note in here that was completely fed to the separate sub-panel off the closest panel that we had availability to provide electrical for, as well as from a supervision standpoint that the library media person that services this space also assists in servicing that particular classroom. So you disconnect the media center person being able, from an instructional standpoint, to be able to assist in delivery of instructional material, but then you also have the physical and environmental concerns that tack on. So unless you move the library to a different spot, which I don't believe we've really taken a good look at potentially relocating the library, but if you knock down the wall between 2 classrooms and relocating the library into more of the academic space, possibility. And then repurpose this for a different need. The design, the Raymond design, the first design that was done in looking at just this building alone, if you look at the architectural rendition, what they really did was kind of blow this space out and put the main office and operational nurse, principal, assistant principal, all those core administrative functions came in this space. And also redesigning the parking lot so that the entry, which is problematic anyway as far as the arrival and departure of buses and parents and the combination of the 2 traffic at the same time in the same parking lot, they really redesigned this whole section and had that be the main entrance of the building. So that for this particular one, that was what seemed to work. Go out that way and take a right if you want first. Here from a student perspective as well. Our ability to service from the first floor level to the mid-floor level to the upper level is done through a combination of the chair lift that you just walked by, as well as an additional lift that is behind that wall up to my right. From a student perspective, it does require obviously someone to be with them at the age group. That's not necessarily something that we wouldn't expect anyhow, but it does not allow, even if a staff member was in a disabled situation, that they would also be using the same equipment that is here provided for the students. This is a recently replaced item that was a capital funded project from the town to upgrade the chairlift to get it to a point that met compliance. This is a requirement for us to actually go through occupancy in this particular time of having ADA compliance, but it doesn't meet the true compliance needs for this particular time. Magno, this building has not been cleaned yet, correct?
No.
Okay. So I mean, just want to point out, this building is not prepped for opening at this point. We go through a cleaning process that's done between now and the opening time. So if there are dust up underneath, I'm not sure whether it's dust for years. If it's been there for years, you can note that.
Everything's painted shut, so you can't get it.
Other concerns with this particular area obviously is, again, the traffic flow. So again, keep in mind we're well separated from the administrative wing that's at the complete opposite end of the building. Fire protection, obviously we mentioned the lack of sprinklers. Smoke detectors are in place. That was an upgrade that was recently done. Town recently funded, back probably 10 years ago, an upgrade to the fire alarm system. We had a catastrophic failure of that panel within the past 5 or 6 years. The district has upgraded the fire alarm system to meet at least required code requirements with where smoke detectors are required to be placed.
So there is a new panel in place?
There's a brand new panel in place within the last 5 or 6 years. Yep.
Craig,
Addressing
did the problem start with this addition?
Mariah, you would probably know better than I would as far as that
Well,
answer. You're here a
as
lot
teachers,
longer.
we always claimed that this addition was not as well made as the original building.
That wouldn't surprise me.
And the problems kind of began with the addition of, without adding.
Yeah, it could have been the design too, if they over-engineered the capacity for what the boiler room was able to provide. Again, that's well before me and more of an Ernie question. I did mention to some people at the beginning, I don't know if everyone heard it, our facilities manager is actually on vacation this particular week. We did see if it was possible to get this meeting moved, but obviously in the interest of time in your committee, I'm kind of the pinch hitter in this particular case. He's definitely more intimate in knowledge of the building. I really only deal with the big problems.
Not doing a bad job.
Thanks, Frank. Appreciate that. We can go into a typical classroom if you'd like. Yes. This is the original. No, it's not condensation, that's pretty much personal.
That's permanent?
Yes. That's one of the...
Special tinted glass.
Exactly, that's an upgrade. One of the concerns, obviously, classroom size. So in the event that we were to do any sort of a renovation project in this particular site, it was quickly realized that in order to meet requirements or guidelines that MSBA has put out in regards to what a classroom size should be for these type of programs that are serviced, in elementary, lower elementary especially, the square footage for a typical classroom goes up above a regular classroom. So you will note in here, while these are operational for the summer, it is still tight. And that's one of the concerns that we have as well. Is even if there were to be a renovation project that was done in here, it would in most cases involve somehow reconfiguring the design and layout of the classrooms, which adds significantly to the overall cost. Windows, you'll note here, those are not an architectural design issue. That's more of a failure issue in the glass. That's pretty common in this section of the building where you cannot see out the glass anymore. It's pretty much permanently fogged. You'll also note where Dave is in the back of the room, there's a bathroom. Again, back to the accessibility issue, none of the fixtures, components to the fixtures, as well as the entire bathroom in all of the building are handicap accessible. So any event when we hit a certain percentage of the building's costs will kick in required codes that will, in essence, enable us to have to go through and update everything to code requirements. Most of the teachers, we have concerns in regards to the central locking system. There is no common key that allows this building to be locked down. Newer designs, classroom locks are designed to be locked from both sides, so that if a teacher were in the building and there was an issue in the hallway, the teacher can actually secure classroom door from the inside of the room. Clearly that doesn't happen here. In most cases, they don't even have a key that actually allows them to lock the lock that's on the door in the event that it's even functional. We have looked at doing full lock replacements in the building. The cost in order to accomplish that is really not in the top priority of list of items that we would have in the order of things that would need to be addressed in this particular
Greg, are you saying in the event of a tragedy, you're saying that the doors would not, the teachers would not be able to lock their doors and the kids in the classroom?
That's correct.
And
That's not a
roughly, you said
priority for you?
It's in the grand priorities, it is a priority, but we have to order priorities. To me, it's more of a priority to have heat in the building than it is to be able to lock the doors. Again, the level that we're at now is we're picking what issue becomes the most important for us to address in the beginning. I can't bring students into a building that's hot or cold. I can ensure that we put in appropriate checkpoints in place, cameras in certain areas, hallways, train staff on dealing with people, making sure that our visitor policy is up to date so that someone comes into a building is appropriately identified. Mariah's been here for years, we've done that. This is nothing new. We've done these tasks since 96, 97, before Columbine became a big word. If I'm picking priorities, unfortunately, that's not going to be on the top of the priority list based on the expense that would necessitate me to correct.
So you're saying this door cannot be locked
It can
from the
be
outside?
locked, not all of them, I'm saying not all of them. From the outside, that door may be able to be locked.
Okay.
I would have to check depending upon what key that door is keyed to.
So the
There's
teacher,
no common key that the building has
well,
that
the
every
well,
teacher
the
has.
teacher would have key to
Potentially.
his room,
Yeah, potentially.
potentially?
Yeah, sometimes the lock is completely not functional on the door all the
How
time.
does he get in and out of his room?
It's unlocked all the time. I walk through the building, most of the
So, in order to lock it, you have to open the door, lock it,
to
and
lock it,
close it.
correct.
So it is lockable.
If that lock is functional. I picked a random room, I don't know, I have to get the key, whichever key that happens to be.
Rough idea of that, you said you looked at the rough, do you have any idea? of the
Probably
cost?
talking about Dave would probably have a better estimate on my door, typical door.
Door hardware and everything, $300-$400 a door if you really replace all the kind of hardware.
What's your security procedure or personnel here in the school?
In regards to what?
Well, when you talk about lockdown and everything else, do you have somebody, police or security? I mean, what's your security mode here as far as that front door goes?
Well, the front door is locked.
Right.
Constantly. There's an access point that comes in, checkpoint through the office. We test that regularly. We send random people in to determine exactly how the building responds. We do regular tests with the Hanson Police Department. We are currently in the process of reviewing with Hanson Police newer methods of response from the teacher standpoint, and we'll be working with the teachers in the start of this school year and presenting a different method in evacuating out of the building as well. So it's something I think people would feel, if we were to ask most of the staff here compared to other school systems, I think we would get rated very highly in regards to the efforts that the district does. Mariah's
And the weak point is too, that every room has a connecting door. So
Exactly.
if somebody gets in one place, they have to run up everything on one side of the hall. How many kids per classroom in kindergarten?
Kindergarten probably, well, full day kindergarten would be 25, back to 25, low 20s, I would guess. I would take a ballpark, 20 to 25.
It's typical of the age of the building, though, as Mariah said, to have classrooms that are interconnected so a teacher can go out and another teacher could stand in the middle and watch two classrooms. It's typical of this age of this type of a building and how they did it. And any of you that went to school, the classrooms pretty much always are connected, or they could be.
In some cases, a building like this, it would, I believe, be a fire code regulation issue because it is not sprinkled. In the high school, it was a decision to continue the connected classrooms, as Bob pointed out, from a supervision standpoint. That was something the teachers asked for, so that if there was something going on in one classroom, they could open the door and the person would cover it. In these rooms, this is actually acting as a second point of egress. In the event that there was something over here that was problematic, you egress out that side.
How much space above this ceiling, do you know, before you hit?
Not much. Yeah, probably a foot if you're lucky. Up on the ceiling.
You'll find
Yeah,
out.
these close.
And again, electrical concerns come out through here. If you look around the room, comparative to rooms when we go over to Indian Head, you're lucky one or two outlets, mostly on service walls, and they're all daisy chained off each other, usually 2 to 3 in a group as far as classrooms.
Craig, it might be a question for Bob. How many full-time maintenance Whitman Hanson employees are in the system?
That I can speak to. We have 2 people that are district hired that are interior maintenance.
Okay.
We have
And that's
2
total district?
total district. We have 3 people that are grounds and can do some interior maintenance as well. So paint type stuff, interior tasks that they can do in the wintertime when grounds are not tying up most of the time.
Okay.
So 5 there, and we have 1 person that coordinates our entire workflow.
Is that Ernie or is that?
That's Sharon McDonald.
Okay.
She also does our building use component. We have 1 full-time HVAC technician that services both towns,
All the schools?
all the schools.
So roughly 7?
7 people full-time, plus a director, facilities manager.
That's Ernie?
Ernie Sandlin is
Okay.
our facilities manager, and then it upflows through myself. I'm responsible for,
And they're full-time during the summer?
everyone's full-time year-round, correct? And actually, it's busier in the summer in most cases because you're running off a tally list of items that are summer project type items. My responsibilities are food services, safety, security, facilities management, technology and operations, pieces of our HR component.
So there's, just to be clear, there's 7 to 8 full-time maintenance employees,
That's correct.
and you also have janitors
that are
in the school.
subcontracted out,
Custodian.
that are correct.
It's a custodian.
Custodians and their subcontractors.
That's
How many during the day would be in this school? Just
1.
curious.
One full-time
school?
day custodian,
And
correct.
then what are their hours roughly?
Well, it depends on the building, obviously. In this particular building, Magno,
Like an 8?
Fabio's hours,
Like an 8-hour day or?
8 to 4? Yeah. This particular, yeah, it's an 8-hour day, depends on when their start time is.
And that just strictly cleaning, cleaning?
During the day, it's more, I don't Magnum, you want, during the day, their tasks are, cafeteria obviously is a huge area.
Yep.
Throw-ups, any issues that come up during the day, child-related issues, delivery, receipt of packages, delivery of packages, as well as specific areas that are defined as cleaning. The majority of the cleaning happens when everyone is left at the end of the day. Challenges, obviously, that we face is this is a heavily used building from the recreation standpoint, so we're operating around spaces that are occupied by recreation, and then when they leave, then you're cleaning and prepping so that it's ready for the next morning when the group comes in.
And they don't drive the van back and forth with the food? Who does that cafeteria?
Our cafeteria. And it's a specialized, it has to be a van that's not used for anything else for food purposes, it's only used for food services.
I think if I may correct it, just for everybody's perspective dollar-wise here, once you start getting into a building like this, and I'm speaking from my perspective as I've managed 9 public school projects, 4 of which have been renovations in buildings like this. Once you start dealing with even a bathroom like that, there's $10,000 right there just with accessibility type issues here. And you look at all the bathrooms, once you meet that certain trigger, you have to do a lot of different things there. And accessibility is right on the top, and there's no way around it. And so when you're thinking about whatever plan the committee chooses to go forward with, you want to take it in increments where you don't pull that trigger, or you take it a bigger shot at once and know that you have to deal with these accessibility issues.
And clean. So while we can look at certain areas that, I don't think, just speaking for myself, I've been in a lot of schools and a lot of different school projects. To me, this does not look unclean. And this building has not been cleaned for the summer prep. There's a whole process that our cleaning crew goes through over the summer that waxes and strips and does floors. And you'll see at Indian Head the difference, obviously. That building's a little behind this. They've done certain wings of this building because of occupied summer programs, so they've prepped. Like the other side is fully occupied in the summer. We had about it was Magno, 2-week window, wherever Magno just went. We had about a 2-week window, I think, from when students got out to when summer program started. They completely flipped that whole way in the building, turned it over and finished it.
Is the environmental code control on 24/7 in these buildings?
There is, in this particular building, there is no environmental controls. What you have is pneumatic.
Machines run up against the wall over there and there. Why is that?
I have no idea, I'll have to check. There's no controls in this building at all, so most likely something's on that either shouldn't be, or for occupied purposes, it was here during the year. Indian Head, you'll see there's some DDC and pneumatic controls that are on a computer-based schedule.
So all the controls are local to the classroom area?
Correct, here they're local to the classroom. Conditions are going to be the same in classrooms. I brought you up here to walk you down the wing, but you're more than welcome to take a look in and around any room. There's really nothing here I think I can point out that's any different than what we've seen. You get to one of our service closets. Again, storage is a problem in this particular building. Certainly take a peek in there. Restrooms in this area, more than welcome to walk in. Wall partitions in the restroom have come off the walls. If you look, again, we've done the best we can to make sure that things are operational, that kids get locked in.
Space. The personal space you had here and downstairs was closed off.
I have to look to see what the need was at the time. Probably they needed extra classrooms at a particular time.
These are special.
There were 2 classrooms.
There were always 2 with a folding door. And now there's a permanent wall.
Well, not really.
Semi-permanent?
It's Jim, it's not permanent.
You'd be hard pressed to open it.
Oh, that would come down pretty quick.
Yeah, but not day to day.
No.
Oh, right. Ready? Yep. So I'm going to go down, we can head out the outside, and back around and then walk across the street. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, down at the beach, sure.
Was you, wasn't it? But the leaking in the Maquan School.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see any areas where leaking, but where are the leaks on the roof?
Section of the gymnasium was referenced. There's sections of the classroom on the first floor, kind of the area that we were in. There was a retaining bucket if we went down a couple of classrooms from there. Recommendations from here, the exterior walls of the 68 building with the brick that were constructed, cast iron concrete beams exposed at the top of the walls, creating a thermal bridge. The walls of the gymnasium and the cafeteria have 12-inch CMU behind brick veneer. The administration wing, the exterior wall is exposed concrete from the foundation to the underside of the windows. The many steel lintels have been sealed at the perimeter, prohibiting weeping action as a result. Steel lintels are rusting with sloped brick windows. In the 89 wing, substantial mortar deterioration. So if you look in the back, you want to come this way. You should be able to see where the brick mortar deterioration is. You asked on the windows.
Why is it running? When you built the other playground, you remember that? That playground lasted 10 years roughly.
What happened when that building was put on Westport? Yes, really impressed me when I ordered
No, we didn't have to.
Interestingly, they forgot to put a door in there and they were building it up and they said, they continued to build it up because nobody said stop. There was a fissure. They didn't go and ask somebody, should you stop? And then lo and behold, the bricks they had to knock out. It's got all over.
Just go right around the side, probably is easier. So as far as the gym, one of the concerns obviously that was mentioned was the size. Again, with some of the medically challenged students that we have in the building, really not able to establish zones that we can work with students who may need extra assistance or do not have the mobility aspect that other students do in a space this size. This is frequently used, as many of you know, for Hanson recreation purposes. One of the concerns is there's really no safe waiting areas for people that are watching games. Appropriately sized and coded gym would have enough space for people that are watching the events going on to wait, as well as having enough space for the students that are in the building and the needs that are there. The leak that you mentioned with the gymnasium end result is right there.
That's an ongoing rain, Craig?
Has been, yes.
That's the leak right there.
That's the end result of
The original 1968 roof.
No, this one, that's what I was looking to see what the date was on.
And what type of roof is this?
Yeah, built for 68. The challenge here is there's so many different sections. The higher tar and gravel built-up roof over the gym and cafeteria was original to the 68 construction. Roof consists of built-up roofing of over 1.5-inch rigid insulation over a 6-inch acoustic metal decking. Facilities Department reports persistent leaks in the gym area. Wood fascias, the perimeter of the roof are painted. Paint is peeling, leaving significant areas of bare wood. 1989 classroom edition has the original ballasted EPDM membrane over a 2.5-inch minimum rigid insulation.
Craig, if this was a pre-K school, would it even require a full gym, or could you get away with it?
I would think with a pre-K only, you would have a size of this, would be fine. Staffing, I think, would become the issue there, because you'd be dedicating one full-time staff member to service a small population of students, or a percentage of one full-time staff member to service. Yeah, so scheduling, I think, may be a challenge. But the bigger thing here is a lot of the accessibility components, which students that may be in wheelchairs.
But you have a PTO room, pretty good size too.
But one of the concerns was, under the requirements of the full inclusion, those students should be as part of the regular gym class, which really they're not. They're in the OTPT room, their academic services, having different areas of the building. As you all know, you shouldn't be separating students.
Inclusion.
Correct.
Mechanical systems?
This is the one that service steam.
Is that on mezzanine inside the building? That is the mezzanine?
Yep. We can go through the administrative wing and see the things that
I don't know, I haven't seen that before.
Correct, the original Hanson.
It was the entrance to the principal's stuff.
These are offices for principal and not principal.
So the original building, this was the Hanson School Superintendent's office. This has been repurposed. The principal and assistant principal in this building, conference room connector, up a hallway to the main office.
Where is the principal and assistant principal's office?
Assistant
Right
principal.
here. Principal, assistant. We're gonna go now.
And this was the nurse's?
At one point, this was the nurse's office. They were concerned with the carpet being an issue, obviously, with the germ spread.
Was this roof replaced?
This one was done recently.
This was, we had a leak, you had a leak?
The whole
Yeah,
office
she was
wing.
right, sat right here.
I'm standing right there, that's the garage. That's the garage.
Ran the whole world. This is it.
This one?
I'm gonna leave my car and walk across the street.
This is where people check in?
This is the main office here.
All right.
Next study is all of the compliance to the stormwater, runoff, roof drains, where they go, how the drains are dumped into the back of the building. That whole area was all listed as non-compliant. So anything that would require code update to this building, we're dealing with all of the stormwater, retention, runoffs, drains. That whole system needs to be looked at. So that was one of the big ones in the architect report. There's site-related issues. Traffic I mentioned briefly before, but if you look just the flow Buses typically that come for these two buildings, they service both buildings, so we do half drop-off at one site, half drop-off on the other. When you look, that's the staff parking. Parent parking comes in here, so pretty much this is a choke point. Buses, parents, staff, in some cases that'll arrive later based on start times, are coming in this entrance and in that lot, as well as the loop on the other side. So one of the concerns obviously has been just in regard to traffic flow. Best practice, especially at that age, is you want parent traffic completely separate from bus traffic. We've looked at doing it in the front of the building. That's simply just not workable based on the number of vehicles that we have and the kids that are getting off. So the better spot for us to load and unload is out at the back. That's the best area that we can protect as far as parking lot. Vehicles then exit the property coming back out here as well. We'll roam around the front. When we look at Indian Head, you'll see it's a little better designed as far as the traffic flow in that particular areas of concern in regards to the brickwork on the building and the structural issue that the architects pointed out as a possible concern. If anything was done in the roof, you can kind of see, and we'll see it a little better when we're in the connecting bridge. But if you look at the exterior of the building, you can see areas around the window lintels where you're actually getting cracks. It's unknown as to what the structural component of that particular issue is, but that was one of the major issues that the architect here pointed out as a problem that needs to be looked at. You'll see.
When?
Yeah, I know that.
When was the Maquan School built?
64.
Yeah, I saw that. It looked like one section shifting from the other one. That's about it.
This was the 50. Good.
So it was originally built just as an auditorium?
No, it's all built as, because the auditorium was also the community.
The new part, the addition part was mostly office space, right? There was a couple of new.
Greg, we better go to the left. We're gonna go to the roof for the sake of light. I don't think what the best spot is.
Did you open it up? Oh, the mezzanine, yeah. All right.
That would be a liability, people climbing that.
I know. We got the other ones even worse.
We actually given a door out in her name.
For anyone that wants to go up, that's the mezzanine section. I have one in the car.
She had a unique,
Oh, right there.
didn't have toys.
For anyone that wants to take a look at this section here, there's a vertical stair lift that goes into the...
Is there a light designated on?
I do not believe there are lights. But we have someone with a flashlight. And the other...
Electrical closet?
They asked you to ask about electrical closets before. This one's all newer, so if you just see that.
What are we looking here? Is this the
Well,
roof?
it gives you
Your roof
good
vents?
example of- Well, it gives you an example of the slate roof, as well as the, this is the redone section.
All right. Is this the only section of slate? Is this?
The main, oh, us too.
Oh, okay.
That's the big one.
All right.
Ships that.
No, actually, used to be. The next one down. And one that way. I was actually in 5 years, I was at the Ford and Homes in this building. One over there, one down here. Three of them, see it. Every teacher was home.
So what are the older kids upstairs, is that how they do it?
Yeah, we have fifth grade should be up here now. And this is another one, you use 6 rooms, and there's 7. Except that they're
Oh, that's good.
I think it's up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Couple more months?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Craig, did this room get fixed?
What was the problem with it?
Didn't
Oh, the ceiling that fell?
Yeah.
The one that ceiling came down? Yeah, they did. They took the suspended ceiling tiles down and removed the section, but they did not do all of them. They did any area of tiles. The original tiles that were together.
So it was the original ceiling that was dropping down.
Correct.
Opening either.
Oh, secret switch, huh? Okay. What's this, a signing room?
I don't know, it's changed.
Yeah.
Everything's changed. Go up, Chris?
Is that a special class here for signing?
There's special classes for
Got a
signing.
hold of the officer and we grabbed him down.
It might be.
Oh, no, it's part of the regular curriculum.
Okay,
It might be an activity.
That's just part of the regular curriculum.
all right.
Get up to this section, and then we'll do the boiler.
Yeah.
We can do the remaining. This building should be pretty good because it's all same inside.
They kind of had their own place. They rented, they hung around looking at the.
You maybe put that piece of frosted glass in so nobody can watch the teachers eating.
Remember him not even normal, then he went down to the island.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He chased them guys big time.
Like a monkey in a zoo.
He's out there. And then the mezzanine, if you want to do half and half, who wanted to see the mezzanine part?
How do you get to the blue door?
That's this way. Right over here.
Get to the what?
The blue door.
Oh, the blue door, yeah.
The mini door.
So what I'm going to do is split, anyone that wants to see the mezzanine, the section above the gym, that's in the front. I'll take half the group over there. The other ship's ladder is over here that brings you up to the area that's where that blue door was. There should be lights on.
There's that little pop-up, that section that was up on top of the
How's the boiler room in this building?
That's, we'll do that. I just want to get the stuff that we need light out of the way.
No, Man, you know,
Jim and
Tucking probably hasn't been cleaned in a bazillion years.
Yep.
Yes, yeah. Actually, the memorial auditorium. That's gotta be the front of the building.
Who wanted to go up on this side? Is there anyone in there ready? All of them this side? Everyone's not going to be able to get up that ladder.
Yeah.
Who wanted the mezzanine part? You want to climb in and get a film?
Not really.
Don't you mind? This one isn't as bad. Straight up, but it's not as bad.
I don't do that anymore.
You know if I can take it?
Yeah, you can if you like, and pass it up to you.
Actually, here. I think that's when I dropped that.
Okay. There you go.
Is it yours or the cable committee's?
No, no, it's mine. Don't worry about it.
So I think I get hazard pay for this one.
Yeah. Is there anything else to be said about this place? Nothing?
Classroom, we've been doing classrooms, typical walk through the office, but the majority of the inside of this building was done during the renovation period. So structural issues, obviously, on the outside, the roofing issues remain major concerns. Anything that would kick in code compliance, you're running back through a recheck, make sure that we're up to code compliance issues. Again, everything's listed in the architect study, but here the bigger concern was the exterior and the facade. Really what it came down to is we worked with MSBA to start looking at options. The two options that were the front leaders were addition onto this site and the new facility. The new facility added the complete eradication of any unknowns in construction projects. And that's why that went to the even number. The other option would have been a renovation component to the site, that was the second highest we went through the evaluation. Concern here was if we were to do a major project with this building, what do you do with the children throughout that process? We have experience in the Whitman renovations, trying to manage children and construction at the same time, and never really kind of jives together. So there was a way to bring temporary classrooms in, but that's what I think we need to relook at any situation that involves some sort of a structural renovation here. I think we'd also need to look at sizing of the core facilities. We'd be short in the gym, short in the cafeteria, so we'd be also looking at figuring out if there's any sort of a take on this building, how to right size those spaces, as well as providing appropriate classrooms for the pre-K, K, and 1 population. We want restrooms connected to every classroom to service at that age. We want right size sinks and countertops. So really that's what led to new facility. You can answer all the questions up front. You know exactly what you're dealing with. That's why we're moving in that direction. Mechanical standpoint, there's problems in every building. This is not a huge concern for the ability to make sure that we can talk about it. You'll notice there's been a lot of work done in here. The air compressor is relatively new. Some of the controls, Tom noticed some of the old controls. I have no idea why the vendor left them, but 3 or 4 years ago we migrated the controls that were done in this building project over to the standard that controls all of the other sites so that the facilities department has familiarity in using the controls, mirrors controls that are in the Brandon High School, the controls that are in the Whitman site, so that in one interface they have a view over each of the buildings, what the temperature is in the classroom, issues that the units are having with controlling open and closing. The boilers were done just before, so they renovated components of the boilers. There was a replacement of the hot water system, replacement of some of the pumps, mostly electrical, the whole electrical. Guys, we're going to go next door to the electrical room if you want to follow.
Now this building, you have an emergency generator, okay?
Small, yeah. It's a little bigger here, but it's still small.
But you don't have battery, you have emergency generator.
And the entire feed facility, switchgear, sprinkler, that was all done already.
Are you sure those boilers were replaced?
They were replaced in a Noresco project that was done, not in the 99 renovation.
They say 1965.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
The innards or the outer?
The burner on the outside, with the burners have stayed?
I'll look, but no,
I was just curious. Yeah.
Noresco redid, when they came through, they did upgrades to all of the infrastructure. It's possible they replaced the outside and left the casing.
Okay, yeah.
Have to look back. Actually, Dave, wherever Dave is too, Dave Lewitt was the project manager for this building. He's probably
So here's, well, better.
What happened to the cracks on the outside of the, oh. They're on the other, yeah, they're on the other side, actually.
Okay.
I thought they were on the other side.
Gotta go to
So
the
were
other
these
side.
replaced?
Yeah, the other side.
These are, there's a few down there that are bad, though, too.
Yeah, the cracks in the brick are on the other side.
They are definitely.
Wasn't really expect to see it.
Maintenance costs?
Yeah.
Minimal.
Yeah.
And the rooftop unit
that's the
service
best way to do
through
it,
the
but
HU, you're done. Like it's,
something like this where you can't,
that's what we've done here. The library, computer lab, you'll notice probably out in here, some rooftop units, that's what we've done, splits.
yeah.
Does
But then
this,
you're dealing with maintenance of how many compressors times
Yeah.
wherever they've serviced.
does this wrap it up for the night?
Yes, this is good for me. Is anyone else I'm here? If anyone wants other questions? Classrooms here were better size when I went through. You were, you probably speak more about that.
I was here when we dedicated this. I was a kid and I sang in the choir for the dedication.
Mr. Bar's shop class was down there.
The library,
Let me make it official. Okay.
It's supposed to be open?
No,
No, we just put that in
we were
there.
afraid we were gonna get locked out. That was outside.
Okay, I want to thank Bob Hayes and Craig for being our guides for the tour of the two buildings. And does anybody have a problem with meeting again next week? What is the best
At
day?
the selectman's office.
Yeah, same place. Does anyone have, I know that John has a problem with Thursdays.
Yeah, like, what, Thursday or Wednesday, what are you looking to meet?
So anyone have a
Thursday,
problem?
no problem.
You don't have a problem next Thursday either? Okay, anybody else have a problem on Thursday? You have a problem, oh yeah, that's right, you have a meeting on Thursday.
Yeah, I won't be able to make it on
I
Thursday.
have one too.
Thursday.
Wednesday, 7:15, I can be there.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so we'll make it 7,
Wednesday.
7:15. Next Wednesday night at the, I'll see if the selectmen's meeting room is open. If it's not, I'll let you know where we'll meet at the town hall. And, well, I meant to tell you, I can talk to you a little later on. But do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mariah, second? Yep. Second, to adjourn the meeting. What time is it?
It's 8:39, or 8:40, just turned 8:40.
8:40 PM.
There you go.
Okay, thank you all for coming.